cái chuộc dương cái squall dương cái chui dương vinh đại dương bàn chui kế hai con đồng miền cái chúa lang màu từ tua mề nàyนี่มันเป็นโลตามซาโดยบอกโอนมวยนกเยี่ยมเหม็นกดทำเป็นแต่ปีนี่เมได้นั่นกดเอายมมวยเอาลงนังมวยให้บางเวียนแต่ปีทำไมโลตามซาก้าหรอนะไม่ใช่ใครนี่คือกดเจอมาต้อผมแปะเมได้หนึ่งต้อเลิกออกลงต่อออกเนี้ยจำเมื่อกดผมแปะเอาไอ้ได้โคลนก้อนตาออกลงติดอย่างไม่แกเลิกเข้มเจยก่อนลางเมาส์ให้หนึ่งสมัยคลุ้นสมัยจุนได้เติมผมแปะใบใดนู้ลางเมาส์ให้ตาก่อนจะยอมปิดตาเมาส์โดยโอนุท้าหรือมวยอย่างไรนะแก it is my great honor to invite honorable Frank Emerald come to the stage to present one of those things. Thank you.
Thank you. Please be seated. I have a hard time with Mr. Lynn's name, and he said I can call him Marshall, which is a lot easier for a guy from New York for me to say. Because where I'm from, there's No Neck, there's Tony, there's Carmine, there's John. So, thank you, Marshall. Let me just say, I'm very honored to be here. And leadership is a long word, but it has a lot of responsibility. And some of the things I want to say here, I'm going to take a few minutes, and I apologize for being a little long-winded. But I never knew Danny Greasy Belcher. I've heard of him. And I've formally met Danny the other day. We were supposed to meet in New Hampshire, but he had to go back to Kentucky. That's a little state way down south. And they talk funny over there. But John Malloy and I go back to a place called New York, and John's done lots of things. And when it comes to people like John Malloy and Danny Belcher, they do what they need to do in the name of freedom, justice, and what's right. So I want to say to them, thank you. And Danny, you've helped these people. Your very graciousness that you bring to this. And I'm honored to be here among a brotherhood and a sisterhood of great people. And just give you a little background. I am a state representative from the state of New Hampshire. My term will end this year because I ran for another office. I didn't do so well, but there's always next time. Never forget, there's always next time. We come back. What I want to say is, I grew up in New York. I was a high school dropout. And when I walked in this room yesterday and today, I heard the national anthem for the United States Navy and the other services. I did a month and a day in the United States Navy. I got a medical out. And I still had that patriotism and that American spirit. 4 years later, after surgeries and everything else, I went in the United States Army. And unlike Danny and John, Mr. Lynn, and the other gentlemen in this room, I volunteered to go to Vietnam, and my country sent me to a place called West Germany. I never understood why, but when I was in Germany, it's funny, we did a ceremony the other day, and that's why I'm going to apologize for Mr. Bobby Berneski, who can't be here because Bobby's involved in government business and other things, and he sent his apologies that he couldn't be back here today. But we were at a ceremony at the United States Senator's office in New Hampshire, and there was a veteran from Vietnam with the Bronze Star 3 clusters, and he finally, after 40 plus years, received the Purple Heart. And that was a great honor for us. But with that said, the things that I want to say here today are this. for everyone that served, our veterans, would you please stand? I don't care if it's in the United States military or the land of Cambodia or Vietnam. Would you please rise? And I want to say something to all of you. Please stay standing. There was a place called Korea in the 1950s that was called the police action. Veterans, please keep standing. There was a place called Korea that was called the police action. Then it was called the conflict, and the people came home. Then there was a time in the 60s, a country called Vietnam, another police action, another conflict, and because of the men and women that served during that period, they said, no, this is a war. And because of that, the Korean veteran got his and her due respect. What I'd like to say to the veterans is, welcome home. And to those of you from Cambodia, please, welcome to these United States of America. Thank you. Please be seated. And again, thank you. The other thing I want to say is about, when you talk about freedom and everything, I became a legislator. I got a GED, which is a General Education Development Test. I didn't go to college like some of the folks here. But you stand up for principles. You never lose those principles. This young man lost a family. That's hard. I lost a daughter, and it wasn't during a war. And it's very hard to understand losing a child. A family, that's terrifying. Marshall, you have a brother and a sisterhood here in the United States. We won't let you down, and we thank you for everything you did. Thank you for inviting me, Mr. Belcher. I don't have to tell you to keep it up because you do. John Malloy, thank you. And to every one of you that served. And remember your homeland. We come to this country as immigrants, not aliens, because if we were aliens, I'd be in trouble. I can't speak Martian or Saturnese. I wouldn't know what to say with the Martians. But we are Americans here. We have some problems in our own country that we're going to resolve in these elections, and that's what it's about, is freedom and elections. When it comes to freedom, I'm going to tell you something a lot of you don't know, including my historian, Mr. Malloy. Please relax. The Secretary of State in New Hampshire, Mr. Gardner, no relation to Joyce, was telling me a story that in Philadelphia, George Washington, when it was the home of the United States, George Washington's wife's slave had a daughter. The daughter went to the piers and spoke to a merchandise captain that was bringing freight and produce and materials from Philadelphia into Portsmouth, New Hampshire. This young girl, this slave's daughter, went to the pier, spoke to a captain. He took her on a boat, hid her below, took her to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Years later, President George Washington was a little embarrassed that his slave's daughter escaped, and it didn't look good, begged people from New Hampshire to please return her. This young lady said, no, I like the freedom. And that's what America's about, freedom. Even though we have to fight sometimes, it's about freedom. And what I'd like to do is, during World War II, and I'm not great on names, as you know, there was, I believe, a colonel in 101st Airborne surrounded by the German army. And when the Germans asked him to surrender, he said this, nuts. And the German army was bewildered. What I want to do is, it's not from Bastogne, I have 2 nuts, and these nuts come from Concord, New Hampshire. They come from a tree that someone went to George Washington's home in Mount Vernon, Virginia, not Mount Vernon, New York, where I'm from, but Mount Vernon, Virginia, took the nuts, placed the tree at the state capitol in Concord, New Hampshire. These come off them, and I'd like to give one to my brother here, Mr. Ling. Please come up. I found out yesterday that this gentleman was a prisoner of war. He went home 21 days after the war and was captured, but he went home to his family. And it's people like this, when you hear in this country a song called God Bless America, no matter what your faith, it means we all serve a higher being, that I can say to this gentleman, it's because of you and those of you out here that God did bless America. And I only have one of these left. They're all gone. But it comes from the state of New Hampshire. It's the American flag, the state of New Hampshire flag, and the prisoner of war flag. And I want to say to you, sir, thank you for what you did. God bless you. This is the hard part, is getting it out. Thank you, and thank you for what you did. We will never forget. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, John. Mrs. Lim, thank you very much. Marshall.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, Emerald, we're proud of you and we thank you. ជាបន្តទៅទៀតនេះសូមគោរពអញ្ជើញឯកឧត្តមមេដឹកនាំរដ្ឋាភិបាលមហាចក្រខមឡើងជូនគ្រឿងអេសរិយាយុដល់គណៈប្រតិភូជាន់ខ្ពស់សហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកសូមគោរពអញ្ជើញ Thank you. អរគុណអញ្ជើញអង្គុយថ្ងៃនេះមហាចក្រខមមានកិត្តិយសនឹងផ្ដល់អិសរិយយសរបស់រដ្ឋាភិបាលបណ្ដោះអាសន្នទៅដល់គណៈប្រតិភូដែលបានអញ្ជើញមកចូលរួមនៅក្នុងពិធីនេះហើយអិសរិយយសនេះក៏ជាអិសរិយយសរបស់មេដឹកនាំចំនួនទី1របស់មហាចក្រខមដែលបានខិតខំសិក្សារៀនសូត្រចេះដឹងនៅវិជ្ជាទាំងឡាយដើម្បីបំពេញនិងតម្រូវការស្មើនឹងតម្លៃអិសរិយយសនេះមានន័យថាអិសរិយយសនេះមានតម្លៃស្មើនឹងការរៀបចំប្រទេសជាតិអិសរិយយសនេះគឺជាអិសរិយយសមួយដែលកម្ររកបាននៅក្នុងឆាកជីវិតនេះក្នុងម្នាក់មានតែមួយចំពោះមេដឹកនាំដែលបានចូលរួមប្រតិបត្តិការនិងសិក្សាបំពេញករណីកិច្ចដ៏ជាក់លាក់របស់ខ្លួនអិសរិយយសទី2គឺជាអិសរិយយសសម្រាប់ចំនួនទី2និងអិសរិយយសទី3គឺជាអិសរិយយសសម្រាប់ចំនួនទី3ដូច្នេះចំនួនទី1នឹងបានទទួលអិសរិយយសនេះ3 3 ដង